Hi everyone, I'm Pari from Team TalentZ, and today I want to talk to you about everything that's going on in the world. We might go into lockdown again, restrictions फिर से आ रहे हैं and everything. So everything's very uncertain, and because of that, many times you might feel like you're lost, you don't know what to do. आगे क्या plan करें? Because जो पहले के plans थे, those will not work because things are very uncertain. And because of all this, sometimes you just don't know what to do, you lose all your motivation, or sometimes you just feel like you don't even know yourself because everything that you planned just disappeared. So if you feel like that, it's completely understandable. It doesn't make you weak, it just makes you human. But of course, that is something we can work on. So let's work on it together. Our guest for today is going to help you tune into your authentic self again. Let us invite Ms.Shikha Verma. She is a global happiness and well-being coach, an award-winning influencer, and a motivational speaker. Give me a second to get her here with us. Hi, Ms.Shikha. How are you today?
All well.
Before we get into the interview, would you like to say a few words to our viewers?
So, very, very good evening, everyone. And thank you to TalentZ for bringing me on board for this discussion. I think the new year is bringing new hope for sure, despite all the gloomy news that you hear around COVID. I think what's essential, and we've learned our lessons in 2021, haven't we, buddy? We know that things are not going to get as harsh as they've already got. And the hope is that we've learned the new methods of keeping ourselves safe. So all we need to do is rehearse and practice them without fail. Not show casual attitude at all, act more responsibly. I think, and then the going gets tougher by the day. I think all of us are wired like that as human beings. We've always survived, we've learned, and we've invented or reinvented what was essential for humanity. So people have come across the globe talking about and sharing things that will help and enable each other, including discussions like ours. And it's not, senior, junior. It's not age driven. It's not geography driven. It's universally applicable to all of us, and all of us are, you know, witnessing that change around us. And for the first time, I think we've all become open to bring it on. Not just for us, but for everyone else involved in this process. So I'm looking forward to having a great discussion with you, learning from you guys as well. I think youngsters are doing a lot of things differently, which were much required during our times as well, but we didn't have the tools like I was just sharing with you a while back. So thank you to digital platforms, thank you to social media, and thank you to all the initiatives that you guys are taking in TalentZ to make the change happen and to reach out to the world with tips, enablers that could help them in some way. You never know what touches someone's heart and what just clicks and makes it happen for them. So good going, and thank you once again for getting me on board.
Thank you for being here. You don't know how much I've been looking forward to this. And I really feel like right now we really need a session like this because a lot of people are feeling really lost. So, tuning into your authentic self again, that is like a really important, it's a necessity right now. So I'm so glad you're here with us today. Let's just let's just jump into the questions. So the first thing is I want to ask you, so being a happiness coach or a motivational speaker, it's not a very common career field, right? It's not something you hear very often, right? So could you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got into that, or some experiences that really shaped your journey, something like that?
It always intrigues me when somebody asks me that question, Buddy, because I still remember when I moved from Lucknow. I was raised in a doctor's family who were four siblings, and the good part was, as my parents, my parents never raised us as girls or boys. They raised us as individuals. And we were very fortunate that we were given chances of having various rounds of discussions or putting our thoughts across the table, even as teenagers, at that time. So I'm not going to reveal my age here, but needless to say, it's been like more than 2-3 decades. So we had more openness in the family, and that is what allowed me to become more vocal, become more articulate, become clearer in my own thought process. I realized this was a gift for me only when my career started. I think all of us explore and rediscover ourselves with time and with opportunities. So when my career started, I started off as a telemarketer, Pari, and that wasn't the ideal job that somebody would aspire to do after being a postgraduate MBA. Okay. And the funny part is that my grandmom is the one who triggered a question or a statement which got me to think about what I was doing with my life. So I was earning money, yes, but I was not doing something that was meaningful in any way, for me especially. So that was my first moment of realization of what authenticity am I bringing into my life or my career, or what am I really shaping myself into. And the word and the statement that she said was, "Oh, you work in a PCO.
Okay.
You talk to people on the phone." And I'm like, oh my God, that was the worst thing I could have ever imagined at that time. Because I used to take pride, being one of the top salesperson on the floor. It was a glorified profile. If you're doing good job on the floor, you were made a star, your name is there on the, flashcards and stuff like that. You would get incentives more than your salary. So things were working well otherwise, from a monetary perspective. But when I was forced to, think about my career, so to say, and what I was creating out of it, I was like, no, this is not happening. I ought to do something better. And that was the moment when I realized that the trainers were actually uplifting people and grooming them and developing them. So I was awestruck, by their personalities, by the way they would carry this themselves, how much respect they had earned within the organization. So, and that was it. That was a turning point of my career, so to say. I didn't look back after that. And this is just about a year and a half into my career that I realized that this is where I belong. And my journey started. So I started with basic trainings, communication and stuff, and then got into culture trainings. There was this opportunity where my leader was appointing managers, and that IJP I missed out.
Okay.
So I told my senior, I said, you were supposed to keep me informed. I told him several times that I want to take more responsibility. And he said that, this is something you have to do. I said, no, you're a good friend of ours now. As a leader, he was very pally, and we were quite young. It's always like everybody's your friend. That was the mindset that I was in. I said, no, Joe, this is not happening. And let me go and talk to the MD. But you will not believe, I don't know from where that courage used to come, that I would go all out to pursue my dreams and my passion, and something that I really felt for. For all we know, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to hear a no, right? So I read this quote somewhere, I can't remember which book. It said the max that will happen is you will hear a no, but never be prepared to accept it. Okay, in your mind, if you're never prepared to accept it, you will go all out to pursue and try until you succeed. And that got into my, skin and attitude in some way. And I went and convinced the MD in some way. I said, I don't want you to lose an opportunity of having a good trainer. And he's like, really?
Wow.
What makes you say that? I said, I just know I can make a good trainer. I just know. Can you give me a chance? And there I was with my chance and opportunity to go through the process of interview. It was a fair process, and I did get selected. So, things have not been easy. But the one thing that I learned during this, phase of my life was that these were the initial 7 to 10 years of my career. And it's been 2 decades almost. So in that time, I know that asking questions or going all out to pursue your dreams made it happen. Okay, things changed for me. And I was getting closer and closer to what I passionately felt for. While training also, I realized that wasn't as meaningful as maybe L&D work. something more senior, something that was supposedly for the top management. Only the tenured guys were doing it. So again, it was a fancied thing. However, I felt it was the most meaningful job, in terms of the work that we were doing. We were grooming, we were actually shaping personalities and their career paths. So I felt that was the next level I needed to get to. I had no qualification. I had no certifications. And my senior also went to the extent of making a statement like, Shikha, you can't do it. Forget about it. Okay. And in that discussion, I said, oh my God, why did she make such a strong statement? Again, I was compelled to think through it. I said, are you very sure? And that inner calling, that constant reflection of what I needed to do. Was there an inner calling, or was I just doing it because it was a fancy thing? That really helped me to get those answers. And the moment that inner calling was clear, yes, it's meant to be, I would go all out again. And I went and told her, I said, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Wow.
Imagine talking to your seniors like that.
Yeah.
Touch wood, I've been blessed to have some amazing leaders in my career. Some of them were really, really, the transformative kind of leaders who helped me shape my personality and my future. So this lady was just, taken aback, and she's like, okay, if you're so confident, Shikha, go for it. There was no ego, there was no intimidated conversations. She was like, okay, if you're so sure, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. And there I was. L&D happened, and then the career went in a very different direction, got into OD as well, did compliances, became an ISO certified auditor. And today I'm a happiness coach. so you never know, what future holds for you. I think all those have acted as building blocks for me. And everything that I was made to do during this phase of my career, during these 20 years, has played a major role during the last 2 years for sure. Okay, at that time, you just can't connect the dots. I still remember when I was made to do compliance, I'm like, oh my God, why would you ask a creative communication person to go into compliances? That's a different domain altogether. You have a different set of experts to do it. But today, when I realize I'm doing my own work, I'm self-employed, I'm consulting, those processes, that standardization that I did helped me to such a great extent to establish my own systems and processes and practices. Whatever content designing work I used to do at that time, I used to tell myself, I'm not an ID person, but now it's helping me. You understand? So I think in life, this is one thing I've learned for sure. Always be open to learn as much as possible. Nothing goes waste. Nothing ever goes waste. Everything comes handy just when you need it, and then like, that's why this happened to me, and so that realization may happen maybe 7 years, 10 years later. But the fact is that nothing goes waste. Either it gives you that confidence, or it creates that foundation for you, that God forbid, if ever you have to fall down, something will hold you back, that it'll act like a springboard for you, and you'll bounce back. So that's a little bit of my journey, and little trivia for you to know how things have shaped up in my career.
That's very inspiring. And I really agree with what you said. Like everything, eventually you'll connect the dots and you'll see that every little extra effort that you're putting, it will help you somewhere down the line. Even if it's 10, 11 years down the line, it's going to make a change, definitely. Now, since you told me you were working in sales initially, and then, you found your calling, you found your passion. So, how hard would you say it is to, make your passion your profession?
I think, Pari, most of the times when I've interacted with my friends and my siblings, especially, I have two real sisters also. They're like, how can you even know this is your passion? How do you know? So that's the first question. Where do you find it? How do you get to know this is your passion? And it does take time for people to actually find what they're truly, truly passionate about. So no two ways about it. It's a process, and it's very individualistic in every way possible. And each one of us take our own time to get there. So first of all, I'd like to clarify that. I was lucky. I was really fortunate because that inner calling started to happen very, very early. It's like if you are a cricketer, by birth, that DNA, it keeps sparking in you. It just keeps telling you, compelling you to go to the field and play cricket. And come what may, no matter how many times your parents will tell you, sit and study, the next thing you know, you're in the field and playing cricket with your friend. Because that's what passion does. It just drives you, it compels you, and it ensures that you never feel tired doing what you love. So passion is what something, doing something that you truly, truly love and feel for. When you do things that you don't feel connected to, that mean nothing to you, you feel stressed. So life is fairly simple that way for me from those college days, because I knew this was something I loved doing. I loved talking to people. I loved encouraging people. I loved creating more value in whichever way I could, whether it was through trainings, whether it was through activities, whatever I could do. And I've been a show person, into theater, into drama, into dancing. So you can imagine like an entertainer all throughout. And when training happened, it was packaged with the entertainment, So I told myself, I said, what, whatever God has got me to do, ultimately it has to be delivered. If I'm not serving it, if I'm not into service, all of this is an utter waste, which is the case for any performer. If you're an artist, whatever you know, whatever you can do well, all of that is a waste if you don't have audience, if you don't have, people who you can service. So I think for me, the journey of passion driving my purpose happened in the last couple of years. And now I'm in that phase when I'm trying to turn that into my full-time profession. It isn't easy because profits don't come overnight. It calls a lot of hard work and a lot of strategy and a team also. I don't mind saying that because I feel honestly, as an individual, I can't do it. I may need another 2-3 people who will have those kind of expertise, and together we can make, a business shape up in such a way. So I'm still, struggling on that, trying to figure that out for myself. But I know one thing for sure, that I'm on my journey. I'm on that path. So your purpose is always that path. And passion is what is keeping you fueled, and you're kind of on your track and moving and plodding alongside. So that I know, it's there in my life. I'm on that journey. And yes, for sure, to go back to your question, it's not easy. Unfortunately, most of our careers, especially for students your age, life starts from paychecks.
Yes.
I've done that. Okay, my life started with paychecks. And it was harder during that phase to even imagine a life where you're not centered around salaries. Today, there's a flood of entrepreneurship in India. You have Shark Tank India coming already, talking about a lot of ideas that, youngsters are bubbling with, and some revolutionary work that is already happening. And they're solving real problems of the country, real problems of our farmers, something that will have a drastic impact on our economy. So I've always believed, if you are working from your heart, if you're doing something that you truly love and you find meaning in, you will create magic, not just for yourself, but for people around you. That's the magic that the world needs right now, Pari. We are done with paychecks, I think. Paychecks will happen eventually. It will follow. Money will always follow. If you're creating that kind of excellence, just like, 3 Idiots talks about it, pursue and chase excellence, money will follow. And I can see these things happening in so many lives. Thankfully, I've connected with people across the globe, and they have had such amazing success stories. So that keeps me inspired. I just keep idolizing these people, that if they can do it, I can do it too. It might take me another 3 years maybe to crack it, but I'm going to get there, is the confidence that I have from within, because of faith, because of my resolve, because I strongly feel for what I'm doing. If you're a paycheck driven person, imagine what happened during this phase when people lost their jobs, Pari.
It was so hard. People were like completely hopeless.
Yeah. So the sad part is, because we felt the most secured having a job in a company, that belief has gotten shattered. So recently, you'll see one of my articles coming in the next month, which talks about work-life balance is outmoded now. What we really need is life and work stability. Yeah, people need to know whatever they're signing up for, it's going to stay there with them. It will actually create value for them. It will have a meaning for them. Just doing a job for the sake of paycheck, I think that complete phenomena is getting, absolutely disrupted. And with youngsters with your kind of talent, I know Kratika also, who, refused to work with the top MNC and said, no, I'll do my bit. I'll go all out and do whatever value creation I can from this space and earn, as much. That's the confidence that we see in youngsters. And that's amazing, because we're kind of evolving to India 2.0 with youngsters like all of you, with so much information, aspirations, and purpose in what you're doing. I think we were missing that out completely. Okay, Gen X and Y had their own problems to solve. so now the millennials and the Gen Zs have better clarity, more information, and they have the aids to be able to deliver it. At the same time, they have courage. I think we really grapple with courage. So going back to your question again, the hardest part of making passion work for you is having that courageous heart, overcoming your fears, what ifs, doing away with all the overthinking maybe. So I hate to do that. That's one thing I've insulated against. I don't worry because I have faith. When you pray every day, when you, I've been blessed again because I've been practicing Buddhism for the last 17, 18 years now. So when you pray every day diligently, that faith insulates you against all these worries, all the fears in the world. And with that firm determination that you're going all out to create something meaningful, you're able to persevere, without feeling the heat of anything. So I think that's very important in today's time and age. And all youngsters can do brilliant in that space because you already are more aware. You're also going more aligned. So if you really ask me, that authenticity is coming through you guys, through the work that you're doing through social media. Look at Instagram, look at the kind of work that is created because of your presence on social media. And everything that youngsters are doing is true and it's authentic. Nothing is masked. Barring the celebrities that you see who are all, masked all the time in some way or the other. I think the work that's happening today through social media platform is all authentic. You're all out, you just put on the camera and we start off, talking about anything and everything that could help someone. So that's wonderful. That's like a miracle getting created each day. And every little miracle is making people believe that even they can do this. So it's about the attitude that we're building ultimately, whether it gets difficult or it doesn't get difficult.
Okay, but continuing with this question, you said the path, it's all not always easy, and you have to have faith in yourself. That is the most important thing. But many a times when you're on the path, something or the other happens that knocks you down. Like you talked about the paychecks. Now, I agree that the value is diminishing slowly, but still many a times you still, look at yourself and you're still, measuring your self-worth according to your paychecks. Like if I'm not earning that much, I'm not doing good enough. Maybe I should work harder. So many a times you get into that cycle of self-doubt, you lose motivation, you lose all hope when you're following your dreams. How should you stay on track when something like that happens?
What happens there, Pari? It's seldom you, it's actually the societal pressures and the expectations from you that make you feel like a loser at that time. Because if you tune into your inside, you're satisfied. You're feeling fulfilled. But what's not going well for you is how people are treating you or viewing you in that situation. And their constant, feedback to you, whether it's in the form of criticism, whether it's properly, packaged with a lot of love and, sweet talk, ultimately, that societal, expectation is what is putting you in that fix. That am I doing justice? Am I, doing enough? All of that. I don't deny the need of making money. There's no two ways about it. Money is important, but ultimately I see money as energy. Okay, there are so many people across the world talking about the philosophy of money being, energy of some form. So ultimately, if you're as an individual, you're being more aligned and more purposeful and more giving, the universe responds to you. Whatever you're doing, you will see 10 more people coming forward and aiding you and helping you and supporting you out of nowhere. How do we explain that? And then money flows in. I've had a lot of people in my coach career, in the coach fraternity, who've shared these kind of journeys with me. And some of them got this kind of breakthrough in the first year. Some got a breakthrough in 3 to 5 years. And some are still on the path. Okay. So like I said initially, the time duration may vary, but the fact that you are gunning for a breakthrough is for sure. And when I say breakthrough, I'm talking from a profitability standpoint also. The problem that happens is that we become impatient. And also we lose hope. More than anything else, we lose hope in our own selves. I think that we should never do. Always have faith in yourself. Always know what you're standing for and keep up to it. Even if the others doubt you, it's all right. And we're nobody to judge someone, for saying something. They may do it out of all good intentions. But whether it will shape up well for you or not, that is a question that you need to figure out and choose very carefully, because it's going to carve your future. So I'm very clear. I'm very candid. In my phase of my life, I know things are not working out that well for me. I know in terms of profitability, maybe I'm yet to get there. But I'm very, very happy, contented, fulfilled. And I've earned all that I could have never imagined earning during my corporate stints. Okay, I've got global awards, I've got Women Excellence Awards, I've been recognized in various forums, I'm going for global platforms, things that I would have loved doing during my corporate stint, but never had the opportunity to.
And you've
so sometimes in life, yeah, so sometimes in life, it's like a pendulum. You have to figure out for yourself. You may just not get everything all the time. So you have to choose. If it's only money, then you may not get all the sense of fulfillment and other satisfactions for yourself. Something that you crave for may not necessarily happen. Money will happen. It's a priority that you're laying here. So life will flow in this direction. But if you're putting all the priority here, then your life will flow in this direction. Wherever you choose to focus, your life will start flowing. Those energies will start flowing. And that is absolutely foolproof. I've seen that happen several times over and over in my life for sure. So I can vouch for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That was, I think, the best answer I could have imagined to that. Like, it was very simply broken down into things that we see, but we cannot usually identify in our lives, right?
Yeah,
Now,
it does get hard.
Sorry?
I'm saying as a youngster, I'm just thinking of my days when I used to be confused and perplexed. And never, even for once, did I ask myself this question, what is my passion? Because I used to enjoy whatever I'm doing. And that question never came up, because I was enjoying the company of people. I was enjoying, the organization's culture. And I was enjoying the work that I was doing. So only when I missed out on certain elements from that composition did I get a chance to ponder over what is it that I enjoyed the most. And that got me to the answer that this is where my heart lies.
So now coming back to our topic, I have the most basic question.
Mm-hmm.
You just break it down. How exactly should a person tune into their authentic self?
Yeah, sounds like a very simple question, but a very complicated answer. So I think that's one of the things that we tend to misunderstand. What is authenticity all about? So I'll try to explain that before we talk about how you can. Once you understand it, I think the answer of how will already be there in your mind. So authenticity is about, being true to yourself is how people understand it generally. And when you say true, it means living your values and being true to your personality, right? Very simply put. And off late, there are quite a few interactions that have helped me realize that it's a lot beyond that. So even I didn't know. I started to explore the subject more, and also reflect, because journaling is something that has been a part of my life. I like to write. I like to read. So it just got me thinking. What is it that's more consistent about authenticity, especially in the workspaces, or maybe for youngsters, that will become easy for us to understand. So the example that came to my mind was congruency. For example, there's a leader who says, I'm always there for you. You don't worry about it, and talk sweet with you. But when there is a problem, that person is nowhere to be seen. And the kind of responses that the person is giving, or the statements the person is giving, is like, you see it for yourself. I don't know. I was not a part of this. You decided it. So when such kind of conversations happen, the first thought in your mind is there's lack of congruency in this individual. He's saying something, but he's doing something completely different. So if I were to ask you, Pari, would you say this ex-boss or leader is authentic?
No, not at all.
Why? Because you saw lack of congruence. Yeah. And we've been using a lot of terms like credibility, over and over. In my sessions, I've been talking about it to topmost leaders across organizations in my 20 years of career also, that when you're talking about trust building in relationships, it's actually about what you say is what you do. Very simply, do what you say you would do. Okay, there's an acronym also for it. And that's what builds your credibility. Think about it with your friends. Think about it within your families, your siblings, your parents. Isn't that what helps you build more trust? So even in my house, my daughter's like, okay, Papa promised me that he's going to get me a book this time. And when we are out shopping and we come back without, getting his that book that we promised, she's like, Mama, this is not done. Papa broke his promise. Okay, and the next time around he makes a promise, it is hard on her to trust.
Right.
That is about credibility. It is about, you being seen as authentic or not. So it's just for us to understand these examples, and they happen on an everyday basis. They happen on very small level interactions, and we fail to give it that due importance. Authenticity is all about being true as a person, being honest, right? So if I don't know it, I can say I don't know this. I'm finding it really hard to figure out how to get this Excel sheet created. No matter what my designation, no matter what my tag, can I be honest? Baba, nahi aata ye. I don't know how to get out of this COVID scenario. It's getting so complicated. It's hard on everyone. And apparently, a lot of times I've seen people who seem to have sorted it out for themselves. It's like, it doesn't affect us. That doesn't happen. It affects all of us. It's affecting us. But what's important is, have I figured out my coping mechanism? Am I investing to make myself doubly capable? For example, you see a high tide. Okay, there are two reactions to it. One is you can step back because you're fearful, because you don't know swimming. And the other reaction is you pull out a surfing board and you go all out and enjoy the high tide. You know what made that second reaction possible? Capability. Because the person had capability, that's why he could pull out the spring skating board and go out skating on that tide. Otherwise, there's no point, no? As a novice, nobody would ever dare do that. So
They did, they'd be considered a fool.
Yeah, so the fact is that crisis is a situation. It's a situation that we're unaware of. We're not capable of handling it. So it's like the high tide. The minute you train yourself, condition yourself, nourish and invest in yourself, and ensure that you know how to ride on that high tide, use that adversity as a springboard to create something good for everyone. That is when you are able to sail through it. Problem is, even then, if you're becoming selfish and just guarding yourself and hiding yourself somewhere, it doesn't help you. You know, we've seen so many sci-fi movies where people are trying to survive and odd, but every time there is a slight, transformation in their life, it happens only when they meet another person who's still alive. You know, the shift in the story happens when there's, one more person is alive. Yeah, there's one more person who came for his help. So we need to realize that life is not about, just protecting yourself against harm. Life is about going all out and growing and developing together. That's what nature's teaching us. If we still don't get it, I don't know when we're going to get it. So I have a short cornfield story, which I love talking about in my sessions, and I'll quickly share that with you. It's about this farmer who wins, the best cornfield award every year. And out of his consistency, the third year around, there's a huge media buzz around it, that how come this guy manages to grow the best of all corns every year without fail? So during his interview, the media guy figured out that the farmer used to share his seeds with his neighbors. So he couldn't digest it. He's like, how can you even do that? Don't you know it's going to reduce your chances of being a winner? He said, I'm amazed you said that, because if you look at the law of nature, when the wind blows, the seeds cross-pollinate. And if my neighbor's plants are poor crops or seeds, even my crops are going to get affected. I have to be a fool if I don't know that, if I don't act on it. So what I do invariably is I ensure that he grows good crops. Yeah, he has the best seed. So actually our growth, our development is all collective. Our existence is also collective. Our happiness is also collective. You can never be happy alone. Try being happy alone, Pari. You'll never be able to be happy alone. Alone leads to loneliness. Yeah. But collective, together, we're always happy. We always find more joy. Isn't that one thing that we were all craving for, during the lockdown? When will this lockdown get over? When will I go meet somebody else? When will I talk and embrace someone else, hug someone else? That was something that we were all craving for. Social interactions, that's what makes us thrive. So there is no other recipe to being authentic. Just knowing who you are, being more aware of who you are, being in the now, in the present, and being honest to whatever you do in your relationships, what you're saying, what you intend to do, how much you're able to do, good, bad, ugly. It's okay, no, Baba. Why take it so seriously? Problem is, we are obsessed with perfection. We are obsessed with competition. We're overthinking it here, that action doesn't happen. Things that really matter to us, tab tak ki energy nahi bachti. We're all finished because you've drained it out here. That's the unfortunate part. So our youngsters, I think my message to all youngsters here is, let's not overdo the thinking part. Overdo the action for the good of everyone. Go all out and set things right. I know there are a lot of things that have gone wrong, especially the harmed our mother nature. So if this phase is coming back into our life, one thing is for sure, there is a lot more required from our side in terms of giving it back to Mother Nature, to nourishing each other, to looking after the environment. So make even one small promise to yourself that I'm not going to waste energy. I'm not going to waste water. Okay, that one action, one commitment is going to change everything for us. So authenticity, to my assessment, is the most simplest thing possible, provided we're ready to do it. provided we're ready to unmask ourselves and not fit in all the time, as per other people's definitions of how you should look, how you should dress, how you should talk, how you should be. If you're an introvert in the party, you don't want to mix up with people, not go on the dance floor, so be it, it's all right. So being authentic and feeling authentic, there is a paradox. Okay, I may not feel authentic if I'm not fitting in as per societal norms, but I may still be authentic. So the question that all of us need to ask, so that's the question we need to ask. No, do I want to be authentic, or do I want to feel authentic? If you want to feel authentic, the research says that then you have to adhere to the society norms. Then you will feel fitted. You will feel more wanted. You feel more apt. That's the confusion. So I think for me, most of the times when I never thought about authenticity before the pandemic, to be very honest, because life was just the way it was. And for me, I don't know, for some strange reason, I never knew that there is another way of doing it, other than being yourself. It's only off late when authenticity term came up. And I realized after getting into coaching and consulting, how difficult it is for people, how much we get impacted by the environment, how difficult it is for us to embrace our imperfections. My own sister, I've seen her struggle day in and day out, trying to qualify to be the best mom or the best, housewife. And at the same time, she's striving and, literally slogging herself to look perfect all the time. I'm like, why do we have to do this? Why do we torture ourselves, trying to be a 10 on 10? Let's understand, 8 on 10 is the new mantra. You don't have to be a 10 on 10. Yeah. So it's about how you're training your brain. What kind of conditioning have you created? So let's take the mantra of 8. 8 is a good new 10 for us. It's good enough.
Let's just be, I guess, original, and let's just be ourselves instead of trying to fit in.
It's okay. It's absolutely okay. In Hindi, it's called being Vishwasniya. Authenticity is Vishwasniya, means credible.
Okay.
Credible. That's why I spoke about it. No, why are we not able to be credible? Because we're trying to fulfill everyone else's needs and wants and expectations. No, it's hard to listen to yourself. It's hard to be yourself because people don't accept sometimes. They berate sometimes. Yeah. So sometimes you feel unwanted. Sometimes you feel ignored. Both have their prices. Being authentic and feeling authentic. They're both different realities and both have their pros and cons. So the ball again comes to your court. What is it that you expect from your life? What do you choose to do? Do you want to be authentic or do you want to feel authentic? Yeah. And then align your actions around it. Make sure that you think about these things at least once a week and see if you need to retune, readjust somewhere. Just like you go on a path driving and you suddenly see a bolster, you're like, okay, do I change my path or do I just change the gear or do I take a halt for a while? We make these decisions on an everyday basis when you're on a journey. So in your life, it's important to take these pauses and reflect, journal wherever required. Yeah, that should help understanding the steps.
Very helpful. I'm really sure that will help like so many people, especially like I see people around me, youngsters and everyone. We're really struggling with our mental health, with being true to ourselves. Many times we don't even understand what being true to ourselves means. So I think this conversation will really help a lot of people who are looking for it. So my last question to you is something that we're facing a lot these days, because everyone's scared that we'll get into those toxic cycles of 2020 again, of being demotivated, of being disconnected from everyone around us. And it just gets really negative for us. So what would your advice be?
Yeah. So I think the problem more than the external situation is our own internal, mindset. And the mind tricks us very often. It will extrapolate and exaggerate things to that extent for sure, even if it doesn't happen. And I'm sure it's already started happening with a lot of us. So that's a very relevant question, Pari. And my simple answer to that is invest in your well-being. Meditate more. Find time for yourself on a regular basis and do it religiously. So Sadhguru talks about yoga being, one of the practices that can help you align yourself in every way possible. So all your energies, all your indriyas, they all get aligned. And that is one thing that will give you more anchor. It will give you stronger roots. No matter what the storm, you will not get uprooted. So I've always believed that we need to understand how to, learn from Mother Nature. And sometimes let go certain things that are just not happening. One of the biggest reasons why we suffer is because of our own attachments. We don't let go of very easily. So I am, there was a phase when I realized, oh, I lost my job, and very soon everyone else was losing their job. It just made me feel better because everyone else also lost their job. That's human nature. It's like the Three Idiots, talks about your friend doing more better than yourself, and you start feeling, bad about it. It's human nature. What do you do about it? So right now, because everyone else is in the same boat, we all feel better because we know we're in this together. But at the same time, you need to realize that your way of getting over this is also together. You can't do it alone. Nobody can do it alone. So the more we're acting responsibly, the more we're taking action which has collective good in it. We're breaking the walls and the silos of our mind and being compassionate for other people around us. I've seen so many people prepare tiffins during the lockdown, send it to everyone else, suffering COVID families. So even if that happens, I think that's the orientation we should have. How can we do good for others? And how do you invest in your own well-being to create more firmer roots for yourself as a person? So if you're focused on that, I think that phase would also go. It will not affect you as much because God has his own sweet ways of making us learn the toughest lessons of our life. And this is our second chance as humanity. It's important we realize that we actually need to awaken and come out of those shells, that enough of what we were thinking and how we were competing and the consumerism. We all realized we could live without malls and movie halls and all that luxury that we were getting so accustomed also and addicted to. So now is a phase where technology is bringing us together, you and I talking to each other, without any past connections. It's possible, so it's bringing us together in so many ways. I'm talking to people sitting in Ukraine. I'm talking to people sitting in Africa. I'm talking to people sitting in Dubai. And we've all come together in that spirit of humanity. That is the key. I think the day we realize that, we will sustain and survive any storm, Parit. It will not harm us at all. But if we don't realize it, then God forbid, we really don't know what is coming next.
Of course, I understand what you said, and it really makes sense. We have to help each other together. If you isolate yourself, of course, you're gonna feel even more negative. I think this was a great interview. I learned so much, and
Sure.
it was just really enlightening to talk to you. I am sure
Pleasure.
just as our audience will learn just as much, if not more.
I love to have interactions with individuals also, like students across the board, because I know the TalentZ is connected with a lot of youngsters, and your constant endeavor is to create more value. So at any point in time, for any short durations, 15, 20 minutes, if you ever need me, I'd be happy to speak to people one-to-one also, and share whatever little I can from my space and what I've learned from life, because I think this is what is keeping us all going. Talking to each other, learning from each other. I've had a lot of tough phases, buddy, where the only thing that kept me going was talking to someone. We have no idea what kind of a blessing it can create for you. And it just doesn't, sail you through that moment. It just gives you impetus for another couple of months. It just propels you like that. It acts as a catalyst. So we can never undermine the importance of having someone to talk to. So I'll be more than happy if ever I can do this again. And I'd love to do it for more students, more children, more youngsters at any point in time. So just let me know.
It was a pleasure having you here with us. And definitely, if ever, it would be great to have you here again.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I had a lovely time talking to you and wish you all the very best.
Okay, guys. So I think that was a lovely session. I really hope it helped you guys. I know that it really, I learned a lot from that session. And yes, so if you ever feel like that, it just makes you human. Don't worry too much. And yes, you always have people. And yes, if you liked anything that we talked about, please go and follow our social profiles and subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop a like, and maybe even comment if something related with, some you related with something more. Okay, bye bye. Take care.